It would be like trivia.
Wait, is Kratz and you doing that? The bat spinny race?
Dizzy bat? Well,
not the dizzy bat.
No.
No, come on.
But something. I'd like Kratz to do something. Maybe like trivia.
Okay.
Something fun. But also Kratz's main role too tonight is a little first pitch action because, he actually played for the New York Yankees. So there's some relevance here. And pitched. Which we actually should make sure everyone knows at some point.
I got to make sure I don't have to buy the kids spread. Like they make sure they know it's not a rehab assignment for me.
You're like, oh, Kratz is here.
Yeah, he's back. Oh, okay.
You never really played much. Have to buy. You know what? That's crap. You should just have to buy the spread.
No.
Yeah.
They actually have had almost here almost everybody runs through here when they're doing their rehab assignments. So Rodon, Harrison Bader, Donaldson.
3 times.
Just go down the line. Judge?
No. I was saying 3 times. Giancarlo.
Oh, yeah.
I said Severino pitched once once all 3 of the last years.
Yep.
One time.
They all make their rounds here. It used to be independent leagues. We'll get into it more later on. Let's charge the damn mound right now because massive news rocking the baseball world that totally sucks as we bring in Stadium's Russ Dorsey. Ooh, I like that new backdrop there, Russ. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Listen, they told me that I was in a different location today, and I just go where they tell me the microphone is going to be. But one thing I wanted to say, you guys are talking about my guy, Adam Amin. I wanted to let you guys know, AJ knows this. He is a top 5 hugger in all of sports media. Great guy.
Wow. I did not know that. AJ, can you confirm this?
Awkward sometimes.
No.
Why?
Why is that awkward?
Because he just randomly walks up to you and wants to hug you. And I'm like, dude.
AJ's not a hugger.
Yeah, didn't we learn this from Susan Waldman?
Yeah. Well, Susan Waldman's a hugger, but what kind of hugs are we talking about? Like good hugs, or are we talking like
a little squeezy,
all the time hugs?
No.
A little squeezy.
So if I'm at the ballpark, shut up, AJ. If I'm at the ballpark and he sees me on the other side, he'll sprint over and he'll do this low approach like a shark, and then he'll come and just give you a good hug. It's a solid hug.
Just once or multiple times during the day?
I haven't seen him in a long period of time. It's a good, oh man, how you doing, bro? Hug.
That's good.
All right, it's perfect transition.
No, he hugs me between innings. Every inning break, he hugs me. When we're sitting next to each other.
That's ridiculous.
Do that.
That is ridiculous slander right there. All right, so people that need hugs right now, White Sox fans, which we'll get to. Let's start with Angels fans and also baseball fans. So the news about Shohei Ohtani with the UCL an issue again. He's had Tommy John surgery back in 2018, Russ. When you see that news, and what other context can you add to that news? What are your thoughts? Obviously, we'll get to Trout too. We'll cover that later on because we're going to talk to Jeff Fletcher, but Trout back on the IL. But Shohei Ohtani is the best player in the sport. He's a free agent after this season. There is so much to this news to dissect.
When I saw the news, it's 12:15 Chicago time, and I'm on whatever reason on Twitter or X, whatever people want to call it these days, and I see that he has the UCL tear and won't pitch again this season. There's this moment where you just go oh man, because outside of being a reporter, outside of being an analyst, outside of all that, I'm a fan of the game. I love the game, and that guy has been the game and carried baseball on his back for a year, right? Since WBC, Shohei has had Major League Baseball on his back and done it very well. And to get to a point where not only is he carrying Major League Baseball, he's carrying the weight of free agency, he's carrying the Angels, and after a monster first half, you could see in the second half, while the bat never changed, his body was starting to feel the brunt of that with all the cramping and leg cramping and arm cramping, and now a UCL tear for the second time. It's disappointing for, baseball, but for him, for somebody who has been such a great figure for the sport itself. It's tough, and it's really sad to see. And for the Angels, I don't know what you say when you wake up this morning. Maybe you say some swears, right, with everything that's happened. But we had talked about it for a month leading up to the deadline. What should the Angels do with Shohei Ohtani? And while logic said you move that guy, when you decide to go all in, and then this happens, you're just kind of there sitting you almost are in disbelief that ended up being the result.
So what does this mean? What does this mean for free agency? What is it? I mean, there's theories everywhere, and I have my own theory. What do you think this means, this injury means for Ohtani?
He's still the best bat on the market, right? Like, even if he has Tommy John surgery, doesn't pitch again until 25, he will be your full-time DH from opening day next season, and then pitch after that. Like, if you're going to sign him to a long-term deal as a team anyway, from a monetary standpoint, does it hurt him in the short term? Maybe, potentially, right? Like, because if you have a second Tommy John surgery going into free agency, that's something that teams are going to be, thinking about, concerned about. But over the long term, this is still a guy that you can still say is going to be a two-way player, an above average two-way player. There's not any of those out there right now, even though some teams are trying to do that with some of their minor leaguers. I don't know how much this injury costs him, because he can fall back on, well, I'm still the best hitter on the market, right? I'm still going to hit 48 homers this season, driving 100, hitting over 300, stealing 15 bags, and be that player going into free agency.
Russ, there's one person that's really mad about this, and it's Shohei's agent, because this has the potential. I mean, I don't know if it's going to cost him a couple $100 million, but it's definitely going to cost him something, right? If he has to have Tommy John. Mm-hmm. It's obviously the death blow was already done to the Angels, but this definitely, with him and Trout gone. My question is if I'm Shohei Ohtani's agent, I'm Shohei, why would I not sign a 1-year deal somewhere for a massive amount of money and say, okay, if I like it there, I'll come back and sign after and hit free agency again when hopefully his arm is healthy. And then this leads me to my next thing. When we talked a couple weeks ago about Shohei being a free agent, I asked the question, do you have to put a clause? Because let's say a year from now, he signs a 10-year deal. 2 years from now, he's like, my arm hurts. I ain't pitching no more. I'm just going to be a hitter. Now, he's worth it, but he ain't worth what he's worth at both positions. So it just complicates the entire free agency. And if I'm him and I'm his agent, I'm saying I'm taking 1-year deal. I'm going to get healthy with my arm, prove I can pitch somewhere along the way. And then, because he's not that old. It's not like he's 35 years old. Right? He can still get the massive deal, just healthy, and get it on both sides.
No, I think that's a good point there, AJ. And it's something that runs through your mind. And like, okay, that's why I'm saying, does it cost him short term? Like, maybe you do have to sign that 1-year deal, get right. You'll still be able to swing the bat. You get healthy, you go through your rehab process. And I know, talking to Walker Buehler, a guy who's gone through Tommy John twice, something he told me was that, like, the first time you're scared out of your mind because you don't know what's about to happen. You get the surgery, and then that rehab is unknown. He said the second time around, it's like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do to kind of help myself through this rehab process. So maybe Shohei kind of has that same mentality, and get feedback from guys who have had multiple surgeries. And then to your point about the agent side, you are going to have to sell them differently, right? Because before you can say, hey, this is your best hitter and your best starting pitcher. Give me the blank check. Right now it's, hey, this is going to be the best hitter in your lineup, and in 14 months he's going to be the best starter in your rotation. But that's going to take some maneuvering, right? And you're going to have to go, and there's going to have to be a lot of back and forth, and it's going to be a lot harder to market a guy coming off a second Tommy John than the guy we saw for 5 months this season.
AJ, you're a shitty agent.
Why am I?
1-year deal, dude, for the best player in baseball? No, I don't even think you deserve those right now, and I'll tell you why.
What do you mean? No, I want to hear this, and then I'm going to tell you why you're a bad, whatever you are, person.
You're a bad Scott.
Yeah.
I'm a bad Scott, yes. So Shohei should have an opt-out after year 1 so that he can prove the value that he needs, and really even after year 2. But he should still be getting a longer-term deal, at least multiple years with a lot of money attached to it based on who he is. So I'm cool with him kind of proving himself and then jumping back in. But he's good enough in my mind to negotiate with teams if I'm his agent to get him multiple years. I do want to cue up what I saw from our friend Jim Bowden, who's been on the show before too, as he said how significant the Ohtani injury is to his free agent value. He said he would have received approximately, in his mind, 10 years, $550 million. He'll now, as a hitter, get approximately 10 years, $400, with a player opt out after 2025. So if he can return to being a two-way player, he can go back on the free agent market as one then. So how bad of a Scott am I?
Well, my question is as a pitcher, he's only worth 150 million, but as a hitter, he's worth 400 million. It seems like they should be equally valuable, right?
No, he's worth like 10 to 15 million a year in advertising dollars, whether he's a hitter or a pitcher.
Mm-hmm. No, but
so
he said
fed in.
But he said 10 years 400 as just a hitter, and 10 years 550 is both. So he's only worth 150 million as a pitcher, but 400 as a.
But you can't advertise him twice as 10 to 15 million. You're getting a 10 to 15 million in advertising, so that's 300 million essentially as a hitter, and another 200 million as a just under 200 million as a pitcher and a hitter. So the advertising dollars are cooked in there.
What's wrong, AJ? Did we mess up math?
I'm just reading I'm just reading what the tweet said. 400 and 550. I don't know where the 300 came in. Russ, maybe help me out here. I didn't go to New Jersey schools, but I'm confused.
I don't know if this Oral Roberts University math is going to help you out either, but I do like Kratz's numbers of the 300 as a
I understand
hitter,
that. Yeah.
closer to the 200 as a pitcher. I'm going to ignore the tweet for a second just because I think that where people get confused and diving back into the market. I think that's probably what he was looking at, right? And we talked about it kind of maybe when the season started of a seat at the table was going to be 500, right? And then the bidding would start after that. And whatever teams felt was appropriate for a guy that was going to be this two-way superstar for the next, even if you said 8 of the 10 years you sign him to, fine. At this point in time, the complexity of that first 2 years of when you can enter back into the market, when you have the opt-outs, because opt-outs have become such a big part of negotiations, regardless of if it's Shohei or anybody else, right? Like with, Manny Machado, where he had an opt-out, and some guys are like, no, we're not going to have any opt-outs. And, Eduardo Rodriguez has the opt-out at the end of his deal at the end of the season. Like, so that's all something in the, when he was moved to the deadline, all right, would he opt out or would they extend him? Like, there's all these different factors that teams are going to have to start thinking about. And for Shohei, you thinking about it differently because you want to be able to show people, hey, I am still one of the best, if not the best hitter in the world right now. But when I come back healthy from Tommy John surgery, I can still be an above average starter in the big leagues. And once you're able to show people that, then you're going to have a lot easier time marketing and going through some of these negotiations. But the fact that this injury happened now, it definitely throws a wrench into any plans that you had.
This was already going to be one of the craziest free agent sweepstakes we've ever seen. Now you just added another wild wrinkle. Okay, let's spend the last few minutes with you, Russ, on the White Sox. You're out in Chicago. You're on the scene. AJ hasn't talked about them yet. JK, go to social media or anywhere. Just type AJ's name.
I saw the video.
Yeah. All right. So your thoughts?
I think AJ speaks for players who have played in that organization, people who work in that organization, fans of that organization. The passion that he spoke with is valid because I think there are a lot of people who look at the White Sox and say, you had a fantastic opportunity to go into this next wave, next generation. They captivated the city, right? They were going up in a period when the Chicago Cubs were in a rebuild. And while people like to say, we're not thinking, they are thinking about that. That's something that's naturally there for them. They had young fans captivated with these young, talented players and, let the kids play and all this other stuff. And they failed. They failed miserably, right? And when you do this, Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams were the only 2 executives that they've had as general managers since the year 2000. That's insane, right? And they've won 1 World Series title, right? And since 05, they've only gone to the playoffs, I believe, twice and never moved past the ALDS in any of those appearances. So you ask yourself, how many times can you repeat the same thing over and over again and hope for different results? Because now you've gone 23 years kind of as currently assembled where your GM then hired the next GM who was Rick Hahn, and then there was no success. And then you're going into a 3rd rebuild now since Rick Hahn took the job. You don't get that many chances in professional sports, let alone baseball.
My whole thing is you just gave all the stats about the White Sox and the playoffs. There was a stat I saw the other day that in the history of the White Sox, they've won like 4 postseason series or 5, and 3 of them were in 2005. They went from 2008 to 2020. That's 13 years, right? Didn't make the postseason and didn't come close really to making the postseason. And then you think about it, how many organizations out there besides the White Sox would not only have had one turnover GM/president, whatever Kenny's title was, they might have had 2 or 3 of them, right? Yeah. And it was the same thing. And it's kind of what we talked about on the show before. Oh, give me, oh, my players. Oh, it's this guy's fault. Oh, they're not letting me do this. Oh, give me 3 more years, Jerry. And Jerry would be like, okay, because I'm older now, and I don't want to start over. But as a fan and as someone that wants them to do well, I'm like, and I like Rick and I like Kenny, and I don't want anybody to get fired. I never want to see anybody lose their job. But it's the nature of sports. You're hired to be fired at some point. Everyone gets fired at some point in sports. And it just seems like it takes the White Sox extraordinarily longer than most other organizations to see that and to do it. Hey, loyalty is Jerry works both ways, right? But then for me to go, if the Getz Dayton Moore thing is true, you just take the next guy and say, okay, well, Rick Kenny didn't work. Oh, I'm going to take the next guy. We'll just slide him up because he's familiar to Jerry, right, and everything will be happy. I don't think the fans like it. From people I've talked to, I think they think it's crazy. And the other thing to me that's crazy is you got to at least do a search. You got to search like far and wide and look like at everybody. Because if you're the CEO, Russ, of a company, if I'm the CEO of, let's say, I live in Orlando, I'm the CEO of Disney World, and I get rid of my next 2 guys in charge, I'm looking at every company out there. Because, I might have a guy that's there that I'm like, okay, I'm going to promote him, but there might be a guy that comes in and blows my doors off, and I'm like, oh, shit, I want him, right? And he might be better. But, again, it's Jerry's team. Jerry can do whatever he wants. It's just the way you feel as a fan and as someone from the outside.
No, and even looking at what they've been as an organization, familiarity is their flaw, right? Pedro Gaffol is the first manager they hired that hasn't had a title of the White Sox since they hired Jerry Manuel in 1998, right? You had 2 executives that were GM of this team for the last 23 years. Now, rumors and reports out about maybe you promote Chris Getz to be the guy in charge, a guy who was in the organization for the last couple of years, a guy who played for the White Sox. And when you don't do that due diligence that you're talking about, AJ, that's why you have so many people that are looking at it like, how can you hope to have some type of change in your culture, change in your organization, change in the on-field product, change in your front office if you haven't gone through the necessary steps to improve your organization? One of the things I hear about the White Sox is that they're run very mom and pop, right? And on the analytical side, and take this for what you will, that they're very behind the times. Players come into that organization and look around like, oh, this is not what I've dealt with before with other teams, or, how can I improve as a player if we're so far behind? And so when you hear things like that from around the game, it's understandable how you get results that they've gotten over the last couple of years.
Russ, good stuff, man. Obviously, to be continued when we actually do get the official news about how the front office is going to look going forward for Chicago. We'll talk to you soon. All right, man?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, too bad we got nothing to talk about today. Let's get our poll question going right now. So it's Ohtani related because we're about to talk to Jeff Fletcher, who covers Ohtani for the Orange County Register and wrote a book about him. This is the guy you want to talk about Ohtani after an injury like this. How much... Thank you, AJ. Man, what a great guy. What a co-host who got you that gift. He showed us the book just now from Jeff. How much will the injury affect Ohtani's free agency? A, completely. B, slightly. C, too early to tell. Vote right now. QR code on your screen or watchstadium.com/foul territory. Back with more on Ohtani next.
Seems like what you want to do. Seems like you want to win, right? You're a free agent. Like, you're signed through till next year. Can you give us a little bit of insight on why you signed with the White Sox then?
I don't know how it says. Erik, fuck off.
I have to go, Erik. No, we played against them in the postseason when I was with Houston. I thought from the outside, what a opportunity, the city of Chicago is amazing. I think it's a place that has a lot of potential, and I don't think you're too far off right now where it sits, honestly. And I think that the fan base is always there. They're loyal. I think Reinsdorf is going to get it right. I think that moving forward, I'm honored and privileged that they actually gave me an opportunity to pitch. I live by these two rules. I'm going to be as prepared as possible, and I'm going to give you 100% effort every time I step foot on the field. I told Pedro that. I told Dusty that when I got over here. And then execution, we can't always execute. You guys know that in this game, you're going to not execute sometimes. I'm going to try to throw a fastball in. I'm going to miss over the plate. But at least I am prepared, and I know that the fastball into that hitter was the right pitch, and I gave you everything I had. I can go to sleep easy at night knowing that. And that's kind of what I live by. And I think as many guys you can get in the clubhouse to do that, which I think they'll get right with whoever they hire as a GM over there, then that place could be a special place to play.
I love you're just so perfectly politically correct, Kendall. It's amazing. And now back to foul territory.
Back on Stadium with FT Live, Braun, Kratz, both in Somerset, New Jersey, AJ in Florida, as we continue to cover the Shohei Ohtani news. What are you showing me? Your shirt?
It's as close as I could come to a Patriots shirt. I got a Statue of Liberty shirt.
Nice.
That's
okay.
good.
That's in New York.
That's actually decent.
No, it's
close.
not. It is
Yeah.
actually, it is not, because this is
Not
Liberty
New York.
National, the golf course, and that is
Yeah.
actually New Jersey. So like I told Kratz yesterday, Scott, fuck off.
The line goes through.
Statue
Essentially,
of
it goes
Liberty?
through the Statue of Liberty. It's on the other side, actually.
The Statue of Liberty?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Glad I know my geography. I only grew up here. Let's pop off right now from our friends at Cereal Pop. It's right behind me. I want to send snacks to so many Angels fans right now as we continue to cover this Angels franchise. It's not just for the Angels at this point, because obviously that what I'm saying is the news about Shohei Ohtani has just as much to do with all of baseball and for Shohei at this point. The Angels aren't making the playoffs. This is the end of the run here, right? So it's really about Shohei Ohtani's free agency and his impact on the sport going forward, because this is the best we've ever seen from anyone if he's thriving as a guy at the top of a rotation and as one of the best hitters in baseball. And we'll show you at some point, but to have like one of the top ERAs and one of the top adjusted OPS lines, we've got the tweet. We'll show you coming up in just a few. And we're going to talk to Jeff Fletcher. Is Jeff good to go? Sorry, I don't have the not yet. Okay.
But no, you're exactly right. The like what Russ said too, just about how it affects baseball. Fortunately, this is the end of the season. People had kind of stopped watching the Angels
as a playoff
but
team.
they were looking right. But they're still waiting. Okay, what did Ohtani? Just think about yesterday, his start.
Mm-hmm.
AJ said it on the show. He's like, when he pitches, he usually does something cool at the bat too. So he hit a dinger. And it's like you watch for that. I don't think it's going to take fans away because there's so many other things that have drawn fans in this season. Attendance is up. I think when you have a guy like that, he is sitting there at the top of that. He's the reason that people are coming to watch. I know for a fact they were coming to Philly here at the end of August. People were buying tickets to come and see Ohtani.
Of course, everywhere.
They're coming to see the Phillies because the Phillies are legit, but they're coming to see Ohtani, and and Trout, but that's what people are paying to see, and he draws this lure to baseball that I don't think it's going to be lost too big of a deal here in the last month of the season.
Let's show that stat line. And it was a great tweet that's getting thrown around right now on socials having to do with Shohei's line as a pitcher and a hitter. So Adam Dorowski, it won't last. So I just want to preserve this. Adjusted OPS, Ohtani up there at the top. Adjusted ERA plus, Ohtani up there at the top. That's absurd. That's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess it's park adjusted. That's what the adjusted is.
Well, OPS plus and ERA plus.
I get those, but I guess it's park adjusted and
yeah, that's what those stats do, right?
So it shows whether
adjusted by league and and by ballpark.
And it flows throughout the season. It changes.
Yeah, and I use that a lot, especially OPS plus. AJ hears me say it all the time. League average is 100. Ohtani has had
does he still win the MVP?
Better than everyone else. Oh, easy, AJ. Easy MVP still, no?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's my problem. We're not at the end of August yet, and I know – listen, he's got a huge lead. Can I finish without you giving me the 19-year-old Scott Braun on the mic? I just did the dizzy bat face. Thank you. Here's the thing. They weren't in the playoff race with him, and now you lose him and Trout, okay? If somebody gets hot, and I'm saying a guy, let's say a Blue Jay, let's say Vlad Guerrero goes off for a month, and they come from out of nowhere. And I know it's a long shot, but I'm just saying somebody goes crazy for a month and these next 5 weeks that are left. Someone could sneak in and steal votes because voters do say the whole year, right? It's supposed to be the entire season. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is more of a possibility now than there was before. And also my thing is the other thing, we'll talk to Jeff Fletcher about this, but people are putting Shohei Ohtani on the Mount Rushmore of baseball for like one of the greatest players of all time. And he's had an incredible run of a couple years. But this is what can happen, especially on the pitching side. He gets hurt, and we don't want to see it. God, it's awful for everybody in baseball. But this is why some people out there are like, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit on him being one of the greatest 5 players of all time. Because he did it for 2 years, and that's it.
And he has to continue it. And
exactly.
I think really the only guy that has a shot is Seager, pushing him out of it because the Rangers need him. The Rangers, if they're in a one-game situation the rest of the month and he continues to do what he's doing, which is incredible, I think he has a shot at it.
I hard disagree, but let's bring in Jeff Fletcher from the Orange County Register right now to go over Shohei and the news. Jeff, we appreciate the quick connection here. So your thoughts on what this means for the future of Shohei Ohtani. You wrote a book about him, so obviously we're projecting forward. It doesn't matter the Angels season anymore. It's about him.
Yeah. It's really shocking and disappointing to know that his future as a pitcher is in question now. I mean, I think he's certainly definitely going to try to pitch again. He may pitch again, but he may not. I mean, we may have seen this might have been it for Shohei as a two-way player. I think that would be a terrible tragedy if that happens, but there's a reason nobody's done this in 100 years. It's really hard to do, and I hope that doesn't happen, but it's certainly a possibility that we need to think about.
You said last time you were on how he's kind of cloaked in a invisible, doesn't speak to the media too much. Was there any idea that maybe an injury was coming with all the cramps and all the things that we heard towards the end since the All-Star break about being tired and skipping starts? Is there anything that you could have inferred from that?
We asked all these questions all the time. Like, are you really sure it's just cramps? Are you sure there's nothing else? Are you sure he's not hurt? And they said over and over and over, it's just cramps. It's just fatigue. He says he's okay. We trust him to know how his body is, without question. And he gave them no reason to suspect it was anything more serious than just some cramps or fatigue.
Why would he not pitch again? Do you think he would just say, hey, I'm just going to play like this. I don't want to go through. And we don't know if he needs Tommy John surgery yet, do we?
No. Well, I mean, he's got a torn UCL. So he's either going to have Tommy John surgery or he's going to take his chances on, the PRP and the stem cell, which he did before. That didn't really work. So I think he's going to have surgery if he wants to pitch. It's just a long road, and maybe he's just, maybe it doesn't work. It doesn't work for everybody. Who knows? I'm just kind of throwing it out there for people to prepare themselves that it's possible.
It's awful. It's awful. It's awful for the sport. It's awful for the guy. It's awful for everyone involved in Major League Baseball. Jeff, where are you flying? You're obviously at an airport. I can see that. It looks like
I'm in Dallas. I'm halfway between Orange County and New York.
Oh, they make red eyes
this weekend.
They make red eyes, by the way. You could have taken one last night, and I'm just throwing it out there, but it's okay. I understand. Or you could have jumped on the team flight.
One of my colleagues was taking a red eye and missed the whole Ohtani thing, by the way. So I was writing till 2 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ, he did it right. And also, I don't think the Angels are letting him on the team flight. I don't think there's enough space for all of the writers to hop on.
Well, I do. I honestly, here's the thing about Shohei in this arm that I have wondered forever is he had Tommy John. They said torn UCL. How the hell did they find out so quick? They have in Angel Stadium. They have an MRI machine like in the dugout, and because he found out like between games, didn't he? And didn't he get a hit?
Well, he came out
and he was standing on second. There's a picture of him.
He came out of he left the game in the second inning of the first game, and I heard that he left the ballpark. So I think they might have taken him to a hospital or something. He got the MRI there, and then he was back between games. So, and there was a split doubleheader. So, he left the first game at 1:45, and he was back playing the second game at 6:30. So there was plenty of time to get out and get an MRI.
Hey, Jeff, you've studied this player as much as anybody on the planet. I know it's tough, but just throwing a prediction out there, I want to know more on what's important to him, right? Like, do you think knowing this player that's going into free agency, hasn't been in the playoffs yet, the one thing he's been vocal about is wanting to win. Do you think the most important thing for him is to say, hey, I'm going to put the pitching aside for now. I want to be a hitter on a winning ball club, and then maybe I can at some point get the surgery and do this again? It's so weird too, because we just don't usually have players that are like, oh, I'll just hit for now and then I'll deal with that elbow at some point.
I mean, I think he wants to win. Obviously, all players want to win, but I also think he really wants to be a historic player. He wants to be this two-way superstar that he is. So that's why I think he's going to do everything in his power to continue to pitch. I'm just not 100% sure that it's going to be possible, just because it's, what happens. But certainly his first choice is going to be to continue pitching. He wants to be, the greatest player ever. He wants to blaze this trail as the greatest two-way player ever. He wants to do all that, and he also wants to win. So, I couldn't tell you what percentage for what, but I know those are two very important things to him.
Does this open up his opportunities to go to more teams, because there might be a 1-year type of option instead of 10 for $600 million?
I don't think he would do that. I think he's still going to get a big chunk of guaranteed money. I mean, you look at Aaron Judge, basically, he got $9 and $360, I think, as just a hitter. And so even if you get him as only a hitter, you're still probably looking in that range. And I believe Judge is a little older than Ohtani. So he's not going to turn down all that guaranteed money. There's probably going to be some other little clauses in it, your escalators. If he does pitch, he gets this or that, or maybe an opt-out if he say he decides he wants to stay with the Angels because he knows about rehabbing there and he's more comfortable rehabbing there, but he's still a little concerned about whether they're going to win or not. Maybe he signs a deal with the Angels but gets an opt-out after like year 3, something like that. I'm just guessing. But there could be a lot of different possibilities that could happen at this point.
Jeff, if he does get terrible news from his second opinion and they say you need to have Tommy John, will he get it right away and shut it down for the year and then therefore hurt Artie Moreno and his ticket sales and his sponsorship money? And also, I mean, do they wish they traded him now? I know it's easy to say, well, we didn't know this was coming, but there's a lot of people out there saying, and after we talked about it, we're not one of those people that's saying they should have traded him, but there's a lot of people out there saying, see, the Angels got what they deserve. They should have traded him. Like, that's an awful take because you don't ever want to want anyone hurt. But do they think maybe there's a little bit of remorse?
I mean, on the first question, a lot of the tickets are already sold and the sponsorships are already paid, so they're not going to lose really any of that. In 2018, he found out he needed Tommy John about September 4th or 5th. He waited till October 1st to have the surgery, so he hit for the rest of the year. As a result, he couldn't play until like early May of 2019. So if he wants to avoid that this year, he'd probably have the surgery right away. As for the remorse, hindsight is 20/20. I mean, nobody could see what was going to happen. I think the real reason the Angels kept him was not so much because they thought they had a great chance to win this year, but because they wanted to keep him. And I think they still want to keep him. And, that's still a possibility. And if they would have traded him, that would have not been a possibility. So I don't think that they're really going to wish they'd done it any differently. They probably just wish he didn't get hurt.
Jeff, let's get to Trout quick. So he hops back onto the IL.
yeah,
What happened there, and did he come back too soon? Because AJ was worried about that with an injury like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a broken hamate. They basically just take the bone out, and then it's just when you can tolerate the pain again. So the general time frame for that is like 4 weeks to 8 weeks, but it has gone longer with some guys. He was at 7 weeks. He said there was still some pain, but he thought he could tolerate it. We played one game. It was worse than he thought. And so they just decided, they didn't want to take a chance that maybe he would cause some other injury to something else if he changes his swing. So obviously there's no point in taking any risks at this point in the season. So they're going to give him another at least 10 days on the IL and see what happens.
Okay, Jeff, good stuff. Safe travels. Nice Jersey shirt there too. A lot of Jersey love today.
Jeff, why are you kissing up to Scott with your New Jersey shirt on?
I went there over the summer. It's a cool place, Stone Harbor.
Yeah, there we go. I like the shirt. Yeah, sorry about it, AJ. Hey, Jeff, really appreciate you hopping on with us. I know tons going on right now for you, but very relevant time to bring you on. So thank you. And AJ, show the book.
Oh, yeah. I have it right here.
It's on the desk every day.
Every day.
All right.
Scott hasn't read one page of it yet. I'm just saying.
Have you, AJ? I'm going to read every book. That's not true. I won't let you. You literally hug it every morning. So, Jeff, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Everyone can check out Jeff's book, as you can see.
Safe travels, Jeff.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Also can follow him. He writes for the Orange County Register. If you want to check him out there, we'll post his Twitter handle as well. Does a great job covering this team on a daily basis. Always a lot to cover with them with Ohtani. Maybe a little less next year, but a lot right now. Visit cookiepopcandypop.com and enter code FOULBALL for 20% off cereal, cookie, or candy pop. Get after it. We'll look back at yesterday's action. Also, Judge homered again.
Listen, there's so much to this story that doesn't make sense from the timing of it. Kenny and Rick were on the field for batting practice yesterday. Had no idea. Had no clue they were getting fired. They get fired between 4:30 and 7 p.m. How does that – explain that process to me. Right? I played with Chris Getz. I like Chris Getz a lot. This is not a personal knock on Chris Getz at all. He has been the farm director / whatever the title they've given him for 7 years with the White Sox now. Find me an impact player they've developed. Find me a player that hasn't been a first rounder or a high pick that they've developed out of nowhere to become a major league fixture. You look at their roster, it's all guys that Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams traded for or signed as free agents that have had an impact on him the last few years. Because if you look at
number one picks like Vaughn.
Well, in number one pick. Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets. Yes, I get that part of it. But they haven't found the diamond in the rough to make an impact at the major league level. They haven't developed guys from a 12th round pick, right? Boom, 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 worked them up the ladder. Oh, man, this guy can contribute even as a platoon guy. There's not those players. And Chris Getz is in charge of this.
And keep in mind also, AJ, that's a much different job than the general manager job. The general manager job is much broader, involves much more. You're overseeing the farm department, the amateur scouting, the professional scouting, the international scouting, all of the administrative details, the analytics, everything falls under your purview. So you've got to be someone capable of doing that. And listen, no one knows if Chris Getz or anyone else for that matter is capable until they get the job. That's fair for anybody who is a first-time GM. But for a team like this, a team that needs so much work to be done, I would say any first-time GM would be a risk. Any assistant GM they hired, let's say, from the Dodgers who hasn't been a GM, that guy or that woman would be a risk too. So from that perspective, if this is the choice, I do not understand it.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on Stadium, Braun Kratz in Somerset, home of the Patriots, AA affiliate of the New York Yankees, and AJ in Florida. So the Yankees have a pretty good ball player up on their big league club. They re-signed him for a long-ass time. It's working out. Obviously dealt with the injury for a long time. Let's flip it to yesterday's action and show you what Aaron Judge is up to this season. Because I feel like, because you're not chasing anything and the Yankees aren't in playoff mode, like it's not the same type of coverage, but he homered 3 times yesterday, and he's already homered in today's game in his first AB. He's on an absolute heater again. And the crazy thing is, can we show these numbers for Judge through, 72 games of this season versus 72 games of last season? Because guess what? They're pretty much identical. So 27 homers, 54 RBIs, 55 runs, an OPS of 105.1 over 72 games this season. Through his first 72 last season, he had 1 more homer, 3 more ribbies, a few more runs scored, whatever. And then the OPS was actually lower. So Aaron Boone's quote was, he's basically doing the same thing as last season. It's just he missed a big chunk. That's a great sign for them going forward, because last year was no fluke. You got to keep him on the field, and that was kind of a fluke injury, actually. But holy shit, the dude is just as good. He's in his prime years. And he's the best hitter in the game, or a top 3 hitter in the game?
Top 3 hitter.
Yeah.
Top 3 hitter. This is what you re-signed him for. Unfortunately, did his contract inhibit the Yankees? I know it didn't. They should still be able to spend from going to get anybody else. Did it consume their whole offseason? Who knows? Moving forward, that's the issue. They're going to have to develop some people from the minor leagues. Here we are. Some people to develop.
Yep.
But if you're getting this production out of a guy that you just gave 9 years, $360 million, feels like this is a positive for a season that has been very little positive.
My other thing is, and I mentioned this all the time last year too, AJ, I'm like surprised that people challenge him still as much as they do. The one time where he finally was struggling a little bit was towards the end of last year, when pitchers were on the record saying, I don't want to give up any record-breaking homers. And I was like, maybe you should pitch around him a little bit more frequently, because he's burning you.
Well, we already saw this year when he was out, the Yankees offense was offensive, and they couldn't score any runs. And as far as Kratz goes about his contract, well, it's not just him, it's Cole, Stanton, and Judge. That's 3 gigantic contracts for one team to have on the roster. Then you throw in Rodon, and you bring in Donaldson, and you bring in a lot of it's not just him, because he's performed. It's all the peripheral guys, and Cole has performed. Stanton can't stay on the field. So it's and it consumed, yes, but actually Aaron Judge's offseason contract was done fairly early. It wasn't like it drug out until February and we didn't know where he was going. So I think he's a great representative of the New York Yankees. I think he's a great person on and off the field. And I still go back. The first broadcast I ever did was Yankees at Rays. And I got to talk to Robbie Thompson, who's now the manager of the Phillies. And I said to him, what do you got on this Judge fella? And he goes, he's the closest makeup-wise to Derek Jeter I've ever seen. And I took that and I said, damn, that's a huge compliment for a guy who's basically in his rookie year. And I go, can I use that? And Topper's like, absolutely. And I go, that's all I need to hear about a guy. If a guy with the experience of Robbie Thompson is telling me that about Aaron Judge, he's going to be a hell of a player, and he's turned out to be better, I think, than anybody thought.
Right here. Spot on.
Spot on.
Charades,
which is crazy when you throw that out there. Most of the time people are like, yo, whoa, captain. But yeah, this is the current version of the captain. Obviously, different hitting profile.
for sure. I've never played with Derek, but he didn't say like what kind of player he's going to be. He said what kind of person and how he can handle the limelight. It is incredible. It is unparalleled, because I never played with Jeter. I did play with Judgy, and it's unparalleled. I've never seen anybody do it.
Get him on one time, Mr. Yankee. Get him on one time.
We will. It's in the works. We'll get him. We'll swing back and we'll go over our picks, and also we'll look at poll results on how we think this Ohtani news is going to affect his free agency. Also, in hour number 2, we're going to talk to Yankees prospect Chase Hampton from the Somerset Patriots here in Somerset, and Corbin Burnes will join us in hour 2.
I'm enjoying it. It's a complete 180. Breath of fresh air over here. It's about winning games over here in San Fran. And it's led by a lot of guys in our clubhouse with Jock, with Slater, Conforto, some of these older guys. Obviously Crawford, he's been there for, feels like for decades. So we got a great group of guys, mixture of veterans and some younger guys that obviously, Harrison's making his debut tonight. So it's been a blast. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. This team's a little streaky. I know you probably guys have been following, but feels like we, win 5 games, lose 3 games, win 6, lose 5. But I feel like the team is incredibly dangerous. So I think it's just a great group of guys on and off the field.
JD, you said a 180 from the other organization you were a part of. Why? Because you guys are winning and they aren't? What's the difference between, where you came from to where you are now?
Oh, man. So I think a little bit, if I were to summarize it a little bit, I was part of a group or part of an organization and a team that just was passing the baton to so many people. When I got traded over in 2019, Conforto can probably speak more of it than I can, but or he experienced it more than I can. But from 2019, from the time that I was out of there in 2022, I think we had 3 or 4 GMs. We had another owner. We had 4 or 5 managers. So what I mean by like 180, I guess the stability of it from organization to organization, where it felt like when I was in New York, there was no identity with the team. There was no direction because there was just so many new moving parts, new leaders, new just people that would make the decisions. And I feel like at that time there wasn't really much direction with the team. Where with these guys in San Francisco, the direction is about winning games, getting to the playoffs, and giving our team the best chance to win.
And now back to foul territory.
Back at it in Somerset, New Jersey. Bron and Kratz, AJ in Florida, and we've got picks to do. I'm back on track a little bit.
You're hot for the
I don't
last
really
2
care
days.
about jinxes. Like, whatever. If I lose 5 in a row, I lose 5 in a row. I'm up.
No, but you're making good picks. They got you runs in that 8th inning.
Late. Oh yeah, no, it was not a sweat-free bet yesterday.
No, it was
Orioles and Blue Jays. Let's do our BetMGM locks for Thursday. Yeah, so I went with the little parlay action with the runs, kept it low, right, 4.5, but ended up being a 7-0 game, and Gossman hit his case pretty well. Lucy's game is pushed to today, so we'll check that out.
It hit.
Oh, it hit?
Yeah, he had a double and a single.
Boom.
He was Gucci.
Check that off. All right, you two have to get back on the winning side of things.
Shouldn't Kratz and I's be void because Shohei got hurt? So it should say
no, he started.
Injury alert.
No, once you play, you play. Yeah. If he didn't play in the game, it
says if he does.
And I should get
starting pitcher.
I should get half my bet though because I said he'd get a hit and he went deep. So that should.
Yeah, sure. We'll look into it.
Okay, I'll call our friends at BetMGM and see what they say. I'll try and negotiate for you. Oh, they already responded. They said no. All right, AJ, you want to start off here? What's your
my gosh,
for Thursday?
Dude,
Come on,
it's
man.
a lot.
Get going here.
It's a full screen. It's so long. I have to go to my phone to read it.
I love it.
Okay, it's the same game.
I love it.
It's the same game parlay. Okay.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's the Houston and the Red Sox. Okay. It's Bayo Day, just FYI. So 4+ punchies for Bayo. Usually go 5 and above, but because the Astros don't strike out much. Plus Kratz's favorite, 1 walk. Okay. And then JP France is starting for the Astros. He needs 3 punchies and 1 walk. So doubling on the punchies and the walks, and that pays plus 110. It's a lot, but I'm grasping for straws here.
Wow. Okay.
I don't like the walks on Bayo, just like I didn't like your 5 last week. You had your 4. Bayo just does not want to go over 4 strikeouts very often. So the walks could hit. He's had a couple games. I like it.
He's going to walk in Alvarez. He's going to be like, I'm going to pitch around maybe Jordan or Tucker, and that'll be the walk.
Okay, that's fair. He's a young kid. He's got cojones. He wants to go after guys. But mine is the over at 8.5 in the Rangers game. Pablo Lopez versus Andrew Heaney. Heaney has been giving up some runs here, not a ton, but the Rangers are exhausted. And Pablo has been hot. He has been hot lately, but not against the Rangers. His last 2 outings against the Rangers, he has given up 12 runs in 2 outings. So we're getting 8.5 going over, and I am cold as ice right now.
Oof. All right. Well, I'm picking on the Pirates, which I've done really well this year, and taking a little. I looked at the Cubs and the money line action, and I was like, all right, I'm going to need a little help though, because it was actually not as steep as I thought it would be. You've got Cubs, Justin Steele going for a Cy Young.
I love Justin.
I think the Cubs should actually work on an extension with someone like him. Early service time kind of guy, right? Maybe is he hitting ARBs this year? Maybe first time starting
I don't
next season. He's not even there yet.
I think after next season.
After
I thought
next
he
season?
was.
Okay. Well,
I'll have to check
regardless,
that.
Cubs, some of my winnings, you don't get them, but you should put some of your winnings as a franchise over there. And then also just taking the 5.5 there. Now, Steele might shut them down, but the Cubs offense going up against, when I first checked it, and this is at -110 for the same game parlay, the Pirates, I think, we're still figuring out who's pitching. And I guess it could be some bullpen game action plus Cubs offense. So I'm like, all right, I'll take the over on that one. And make sure I get
Did you check the weather
Steele to take the dub, though.
Did you check the weather?
Oh, no.
Why?
You don't want to delay.
Is the game in Pittsburgh or Chicago?
Is there supposed to be rain?
Where's the game? Oh, it's in
Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh. Okay. Yeah, why? Oh, you're saying for the wind?
Yeah, I'm always at Wrigley, you always got to check the wind before you make a bet, over or unders.
That I didn't have to do. I didn't have to deal with that. So we're in good shape on that front. So anyway, that's our locks. We'll see how we do. And if you want to check out what we've got for you on the BetMGM Sportsbook app or on the website at betmgm.com, we are offering a place your first bet and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets promo right now. It's been running for most of the season. If you use the bonus code FOUL, FOUL, if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once the wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so we're in Somerset. So, of course, we're going to interview one of their players coming up pretty soon. And Corbin Burnes will talk to us coming up.
Of course he will. He's always great.
He is fantastic. So we'll talk to him. And actually, while we have 1 minute, I do want to shout this out. So did you see the comments from Terry Francona? And I'm going to grab him here while we're chatting.
Talking
to me, it seems like this could be it. And he's just trying to not take attention away from the team. Although I would say, Tito, your team's not making the playoffs. Like, you can let people appreciate you and give you some claps, but he's just not that guy. But he said, quote, I need to go get healthy for my life, and this lifestyle is just too difficult. I also know how I feel about doing the job a certain way, and I don't think I can necessarily do that anymore, and that bothers me. I don't want to fib to people about my future, but I also don't want the last 6 weeks to be about me. The focus has to be on the players. To me, that's it. I mean, I think he's going to call it a career. He's dealt with a lot of health issues lately, and he's one of the best managers in this era.
For sure. Healthy choices. Beside the point, like, you're out there and you are pushing it and you're like grinding through it. And when you start having health stuff, heart stuff, I feel for him. He's handling it like a pro, and I wish we could celebrate him.
Yeah, and he's done it all,
Everything.
Yeah.
So respected.
I'm going to celebrate him.
Me too. I think I have one more game with the Guardians, and every time I see Tito at the end of the year, I say, hey, what do you think? You coming back next year? He's usually like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This time he's going to be like, probably not.
And you know what? That's fine.
He has earned the right, though, to make that decision in his life. And you're one of the greatest of all time, Tito. I wish I would have got to play for you. Salute you, though, buddy. And now maybe we'll get to play some golf.
Exactly. He was not shortchanged in his managerial career at all.
I had a spring training with him.
Yeah.
He's pro.
He's a pro. So we salute you, Tito, regardless of what you're telling everyone else right now. What a freaking run for you. Hour 2 of FT Live from Somerset coming up. Flip over to our YouTube. back at it on FT Live. Braun and Kratz in Somerset. AJ down there in Florida, and one more to add to the party right now.
One more for the wide box here. We got pitchers. They're built different.
Yeah,
they're built different. I don't know if the team gives them like these extra short shorts that my guy's wearing.
Well, it's all about the lower half. Well, let's bring him in too. Chase Hampton joining us right now from the Somerset Patriots, Yanks AA. As we've told everyone at the top of the show, we're here now. Chase,
nice to meet
thanks
you.
for coming on, man.
No
Great
problem,
to
man.
see you.
This is awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell Kratzy, what do you got? What's the workout plan for the lower half?
Honestly, I grew up a big free weight guy, so I mean, just straight squats and deadlifts. That's basically all I did growing up, and it just happened to be I just built up muscle over time, just doing that all the time.
Now he's throwing a hunch off the mound.
I wish.
Not okay. I figure that's what has to happen with the Yankees pitching development camp and everything. We'll get you on the screen here soon, so the ladies can see the mustache, because the mustache is going to sell it for
prime.
It is prime.
Yes,
it is definitely prime. But what is it like going from being drafted and now all of a sudden you're in AA? Tell us what that journey, like, it's not even a journey. It's like a car ride. It's like an Uber ride here that you took to AA.
Honestly, it was a dream. I mean, I would have never thought I got here so quick. I think honestly, it was just me putting my head down and just working as hard as I can, just try to get anywhere as fast as possible, and just taking whatever they give me and just being a sponge and using everything that they give me and just taking it out there on the mound.
Do you feel like that can be a hindrance where, like, you might get a bad coach and he might tell you the wrong thing, or do you feel like you're smart enough to filter out the bad and just take in the good?
I'm very smart to filter out the bad and take in the good. There's been a ton of coaches I've had over the years that just given me some like bad advice, and then I take the good stuff that they give me and then use it along the way. And then of course here we have tons of good coaches. We have Preston Claiborne, Sam Bren, Grayson Crawford here that's with us here, and those three people just alone have helped me become the pitcher I am today. So.
Now, do you feel like when you get drafted, when you hear your name and it's the Yankees, are you like, holy cow, like, this is like, look at all the pitchers that they've developed, let alone not even the like prestige of being a Yankee?
Right. Yeah, it was actually I feel like it was like the holy grail of the draft. You know, honestly, it was like, you know, the Yankees are such a big market team, you know, a very high powered team. And they develop guys really well. I mean, it goes to show they have plenty of guys that they've drafted, and they're in the league for other teams or even with our team as well. So I think, as soon as I got drafted, I was ready to rock. I was ready to go.
Who was your team growing up?
You're going to hate me, but I was a Dodgers fan.
I'm not going to hate you. Not me, yeah.
He's in the media, so he doesn't really – wait, I'm in the media now too.
Exactly,
so.
You are too. And AJ, you're fine with that.
I couldn't care less about it. You root for you root for. I mean, didn't you grow up in Texas though?
I know, that's what I was going to ask.
That doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't you be a Rangers or an Astros fan?
So growing up, I was a Rangers fan, but partially, like kind of half. They had
were you a big
Young
fan?
Growing up.
Chase, were you a big fan in like 2013-ish?
Yeah,
of the Rangers.
Stop.
Yes, sir. I was like Michael Young, Elvis Andrews, Agent.
Don't.
Say AJ Przinsky.
He had my jersey. It's okay.
He did not.
My jersey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a great time like growing up watching y'all play. I remember, just going and watching like Elvis Andrews, Adrian Beltre, just kind of like their relationship having like on the field. And I've always loved that kind of relationship with those kind of guys, and I just loved watching them play, just compete and being themselves on the field.
Now, on the field, for our fan base that hasn't seen you pitch, say, what's your style in terms of like your emotions? Are you a fist pump guy when you get a big K?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm a big emotional guy.
Okay.
I love the fire. I'm very fiery. I just like showing the emotion. And I think it draws in a good crowd, I feel like, and it just kind of brings the excitement to the game. And honestly, I don't want to put on a front that I'm kind of trying to be like a robot out there on the mound. I want to be myself and just kind of throw, and that's where I feel the most comfortable at, and that's how I feel the best.
By the way, what do you got on your hat there? Is that a puppy?
And that is a puppy. It is a company back home.
Uh-huh.
It is called Back Down South. It's one of me and my best friends' favorite company, or not really say favorite company, but we just really like their hats.
Yeah.
They have good stuff, good hunting gear as well. So I'll try to figure out, if I get a little shout out today.
Yeah,
sure.
Do
What's
it.
the name?
Absolutely.
Back down south. They're in Lindell, Texas.
I like the logo.
I was going to say, it looks like a puppy with like a hound dog.
That is I want to say is a lab.
Okay,
and
it's got a
duck in its mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Duck hunting is real. So is this what you're doing? Is this what you're doing in the off season besides legs and deadlifting and getting your mental mindset?
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't really been. It's kind of crazy. I don't really go duck hunting as often. But this off season, I'm going to be really putting my foot down and going as much as possible, as much as I can. So just because I want to get out and explore and do things differently, besides just straight baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Actually get to experience some things.
That's you, smart. AJ. You're the specialist down there.
Come on. Nice. I'll bring it. Well, I can't really take him turkey hunting. He's in Tampa, not in Orlando. So I get him an Osceola turkey. We got hunting down here in Florida. Scott, one day you'll go. I'll get you out there one day, Scott, in the camo gear. Take you out there, shoot you maybe a little piggy.
There's bugs. He doesn't like bugs.
That's not true.
He doesn't like bugs.
Tell him, Chase,
my only thing that AJ will give me shit for sometimes, because I'm down there with him most of the time, is gators. They treat gators like they're just pets or something, like walking around like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'm like, no.
Apparently, I heard a story actually from one of my pitching coaches, Ben Buck. Apparently, you can just pick up a gator off the side of the road, and you can sell it.
No, AJ.
I tell you what, Chase,
he was selling it.
Chase, try that and call me 10 years later from when you get out of jail. So go ahead and try it.
If he has hands, do not do that. Do not.
Yeah, do not try that at home, and you are not allowed to touch them. I mean, because you will go like Monopoly. You will go to jail, directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Your ass is in the slammer right away. So just get used to it. Because do not try that. Now, can't you see, Chase, you just met Scott, but I've known Scott for a while now. Can't you just see him? Because when you shoot something hunting for the first time, and you got to put the blood on your face, Scott. Mm-hmm. So I can just see Scott shooting like a little piglet, and then he has to walk over and put the blood on. It'll ruin his makeup and his perfect beard, and he'll be like, oh no, how fast can I get this off?
Dude, you need to treat me like a little bit of royalty right now, okay?
He is.
True. You were the Dizzy Bat champion.
What?
You didn't drink the blood?
He hasn't gone yet.
I haven't gone, but I'm saying, so I worked here. This was my first baseball job back in the day. So
before you were born.
The on-field host. Well, for you. So on a day where you're not throwing, what's going on in between innings? Because the minor leagues does it, in my opinion, they do it better than the big leagues because they keep people entertained much more in between, right? Like the major league game, you have your conversations and there's some things going on, but like the minor leagues takes it seriously. Like many minor league clubs, and the Patriots did this back when I was working there, would be like, between innings is serious. We want to keep people involved. We want to reward them. Like we want to do games, the whole deal. So have you observed what's going on here sometimes?
All the time. I think my favorite game is the chipping game that they have here. They put a little flag out there and there's some balls, and you'll have some guys out there that try out to chip. And I wish I could go out there and just show them up and see how.
They probably would let you one time. No?
I don't think so.
No,
not during a game.
That might be a breach of contract.
Yes. Yeah.
He might go from prospect to suspect real quick.
You might have to do that then.
Chipping. I mean, that might be.
Get out there. They might have it today. You never know.
We'll have to ask the people from behind.
We've got a guy.
Case, if you ain't pitching, dude, they'll let you do that. It's like 3 swings. I mean, it's a chip. It's not like it's a long drive contest where you're letting it eat. I mean, come on. Even the Yankees will let you do that.
Well, I would win in the long drive competition.
Yeah?
Oh.
I would.
So I would say, I mean, when we have like 10 hosts, player hosts on this show, they're all obsessed. They are all hooked. Are you guys, like, if you get an off day, you guys hitting some links around here? Yeah.
Every time, every Monday.
Okay.
Any Monday that we have available, we will go.
Yeah.
We even tried to actually go on today. Me and my roommate Drew Thorpe. I had a call this morning, and we were both super tired. We didn't want to go this morning, but we were going to end up going this morning to go. But,
there you go.
Yeah,
Who wins?
Usually Matt Sauer. If y'all know who that is, he is one of the pitchers in the rotation here.
He's the best golfer on the team.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, hands down. He's a scratch. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to put the ball in the hole and knows how to put the ball in the green.
No, I'm not even a scratch mini golfer, but I love playing. That's for sure.
Hey, so when you grew up, and so you had Texas baseball, and you said you were a Dodger fan. Is there a pitcher that that I split it up into two questions that you really like to watch, and then also there a pitcher where you were like, I'm going to pick up a thing or two from him, because you grew up also like in the YouTube era where you can very easily access all kinds of video.
Right. Yeah. So I would say my favorite pitcher of all time is Clayton Kershaw. He grew up in Highland Park, and I was able to like kind of watch him, growing up, just see him on TV and stuff. And I just really loved the way he threw the ball. Even though he's from the left side, it's really different for me because I'm a right-hander.
Mm-hmm.
I just really fell in love with the way he threw his curveball and how he had so much confidence in everything he threw. And I kind of took that and displayed it into my game. It was like, all right, I'm gonna throw my curveball with confidence as well, and that's the reason why I have such a good curveball here. Is I just use it and I have so much confidence in it, and it's just been working.
And his curveball's super unique, right? How come more guys can't throw it like that? Like, how difficult is it to throw that like big lobby curve?
It's a special pitch for him. I think it's just the way he throws it. It's like his special way of him throwing it. It's the same way Trevor Bauer throws his spike curveball. That's the reason. That's how I throw my curveball, is the same way as Trevor Bauer. I kind of take things from Clayton Kershaw's set and some things that Trevor Bauer has said over time, and kind of just blended the two, and I use it just like that.
AJ, did you ever catch anyone that tried to do a Clayton curveball, or really the like kind of double? What would you call it in the motion? Because he kind of stops and
his hesitation.
A couple times there.
He's unique.
It's so unique.
He's a one of a kind. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody, because that motion you don't go to a young kid like Chase and say, Chase, I want you to throw like Clayton Kershaw, because they'll be like, I fell over 6 times. This pause and this pause, and he almost hits. I don't know how he doesn't hit a spike with his front cleat. He rides the mound perfectly as he goes down. It really is amazing. I mean, like you, Darvish, and some of the Japanese guys, they kind of do the double leg kick. They come up and do it. But I've never seen anybody with as many pauses and as many things that have to line up. But I mean, Clayton is just one of a kind, and I don't know that we'll ever see anything like that again.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Chase, what's the coolest encounter you've had on the mound? Like, have you faced either like a big prospect you were excited to face, or a dude coming up from a rehab assignment where you were like, oh, I punched out this big leaguer yet?
I would have to say that I think the biggest one I'll probably face is Jackson Holiday. That's probably the only one. I faced him in high 6 times in high, and then 3 times up here. He got the best of me over here. He had I think 2 doubles off of me. But I really like his approach. I think he's very young and he's very advanced for his age, and he just knows how to hit. He's a really great hitter, and he can play defense as well.
They were making fun of me showing pictures of when I was the host here in Somerset. Jackson Holiday's got just as much of a baby face as I had back in my Somerset
Can we show
days.
Chase your pictures? Can we show at least one of your pictures?
We can. I don't care.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. It's just more a matter of if they have them ready to queue up.
They'll need some time to queue those up. If they can queue those up, it's my guy down there like leading the Dizzy Bat race and singing happy birthday and everything.
Go.
Look at this guy.
Oh.
I mean,
was that Mardi Gras night?
That was definitely you were throwing beads out.
I got the beads.
I mean, just
cargo shorts.
Sneaky Jack too. Cargo shorts.
Oh, dude, the one thing I did play high school hoops.
You
I
played
was a little bit of
hoops.
a bully.
I think everybody played high school hoops.
AJ gives him a hard time because he's
but it's
played,
not like I
he's
know how to play sports.
He's deflecting it right now. Okay, so he's trying to look, Chase, it's a prospect, all this stuff. Rehab. So you guys have had some rehab guys here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who has bought the best spread?
Oh, it's a big Kratz question.
Oh, that's tough.
Because we always ask these guys while you're thinking about it, we always ask these guys. Not actually ask. I'm pretty much telling the guys they have to come up with a big spread. And while you're thinking about it, my thing is the team pays for your food.
Right.
So you don't need the big leaguers to pay for your food. What if the big leaguers were giving you some Jordans or some AirPods? Because they're spending about the same amount of money.
Right.
You would much rather use the Yankees food and a new pair of J's.
He's been trying to talk all the big leaguers into this all year. I think
some of them are
at least one of them into it.
They're thinking about it.
Yeah,
they're on board with
bringing
it.
a gift.
Me personally, I'm okay with food. I love food. That's exactly what I want from a big leaguer, honestly, because they give us good food. I'd probably say the best one that we've had, probably Rendon. Carlos Rendon. He gave us, I want to say, a steak.
Rendon.
Yeah,
you got it.
Rendon, that's okay.
Yeah, one of the two.
When you get there, you'll be like, hey, what's up?
or Carlos.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what do you do? Because there's good food around here. This is
Yeah,
not like there are some other minor league cities where
Oh.
it can get challenging. It's a long car ride for somebody that's helping someone out to find a legit steakhouse. There's a really good one right down the street here.
So what did he buy you?
I want to say it was a steak. I don't exactly know where it was from.
Okay.
It was decent.
Wolfgang's probably.
It wasn't too bad.
Down the street.
But I mean, it was definitely better than what we've had.
Now, based on your numbers, you're going to be in the big leagues soon, so you need to learn that you can't kill spread. Is there a spread killer in your clubhouse that took 2 steaks, one for his girlfriend at home and one for him there?
I don't know if we have a spread killer here, but because I haven't really noticed that. Honestly, I haven't really taken notice into that. I'll probably start looking.
You need to start looking. Somebody's taking to-go
and
boxes.
Some dudes have gotten called up recently, so I know a lot of Yankee fans want to know what's Jason Dominguez like. Both, what did you see from him on the field, and what's he like as a person? Because obviously he just got called up to the next level, and hopefully will be in the big soon. And he's one of the better prospects out there.
Yeah, I think he was a great human, a great person. He always wanted to talk to you. Especially when I first showed up here, he introduced himself as Jason. Didn't try to act too hard or like he was like a big name or anything. He wanted to actually know me and get to talk to me. And I really enjoyed his time being here, and especially defensively, he was amazing. And of course, offensively, he was great as well.
Hits the ball pretty hard.
Yes, very hard, very hard.
What is there anything you notice, like something that he likes, like? I don't know. Did he have a phrase, or like if he's hanging in the clubhouse before the game? Is there anything like unique about him?
I never really got to hang out with him on that aspect.
Yeah,
because I'm a pitcher, so I was just hanging out with most of the pitchers. But he liked to be around the guys. He would like to interact with us. He wouldn't just like be standoffish. And he's a Latin. You know how most Latins are. They kind of just want to be about themselves.
And he's speaking. Does he speak fluent English?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's really good. I know exactly what he's going to say.
Yep.
And he likes to talk to us. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Since you're new to pro ball and you hear of a guy before you get to pro ball, like Dominguez, like, are you like, you know what? I just see him as my equal because we're essentially the same age. But you took 2 drastically different routes to get here. What does that mean for you as far as like how you interact with those kinds of guys?
I just try to find something like that we can bond over. Yandis Gomez, we kind of just talk about our bullpens together. We kind of just talk about how our bullpens went, like what we were working on. It's kind of those things just to get some kind of communication in there and kind of get to know some of these guys and kind of like take some things from them as well, because they're from a different background and they might see things differently as I see things. So there's that stuff, and I think just getting to talk to them more and just getting to know them really is just probably the best thing.
Mm-hmm. And what about the area here? So we don't need the exact address, but like, what do you think of the area, the fan base? These are my people. So be careful. But
it's definitely new for me.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Kilgore, Texas, so it's a small town, very hot all the time, except for in the winter. Mm-hmm. So being up here, it's definitely a different scene for me. Just different people, just different area and stuff. But I've grown. It's grown on me. I enjoy it. I really like being up here. It's a great spot. Weather's nice. It's 75 degrees today. It's a great day to play baseball. It's starting to grow on me. I really enjoy it.
Nice.
So as you like the end of the season in the minor leagues, most likely you won't get called up. Sorry to break that to you. I didn't talk to Cash about that, but maybe he has different plans. But at the end of the minor league season, you're sitting here and you're like, okay, what do I got to do for next year? What do I have to – did I do enough during the season? Do you feel like you put yourself in a position as a new draft pick, coming in here, doing what you need to do? What would be a positive place to start for you next year? Big league camp, AAA, back here? Would you be disappointed if you're back in AA?
Honestly, I would not be disappointed if I'm back in AA because, you got to take your own road. But for me, my biggest goal is to be in big league camp next year for spring training. That's the main goal. Mm-hmm. My goal this year was to at least get to AA. Whether that was early, whether that was at the end of the year, it really didn't matter for me. But I think there's still a lot of things I have to work on. I'm still pretty unpolished. I still got to work on a lot of things pitching wise. So I really wouldn't be too upset if I was if I was here in Double-A, I would just know I would have to work really hard to get where I was supposed to go.
All right, I got 2 more for you, teammate questions. Number 1, give me like a sleeper minor leaguer or prospect or someone, whether it's on Somerset or someone else you've played against or played with in the minor league system, though, with the Yanks, like someone we should keep an eye on and Yanks fans should keep an eye on, where you're like, yo, this guy's got a lot of potential, not being talked about enough yet.
Ben Rice, 100%. Okay. I think Ben Rice is one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, he just
there you
breaks.
go.
He just breaks. He hits the ball very hard, and he plays the game with a lot of heart, and he does everything right. And just watching him behind the plate, I just have that. You ever just see a guy just think he's going to play for a long time? He has that look about him. He just kind of looks like a guy who will play for a very long time. He just knows the game.
Hits the ball hard. What else? Like, is he adjusting to, in between games, like game plan wise? Is he a great adjuster? Like, what to you makes him look like, all right, this is going to be a long time big leaguer for the Yanks?
He makes the adjustments.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, before the walk off, I mean, he had the great mindset of just going in there and not trying to do too much. He got bases loaded, just trying to put the ball in play, tie the game up, and just happened to put the bat on the ball. He has enough juice to put it out of here. So he's just a great hitter all around. He just has a great mindset. Perfect.
I'm glad you mentioned him, because my other question was just going to be from one of your teammates, because we're going to talk to some of them later on. Something we should ask them. So let's just bring it to the Ben Rice conversation. We'll talk to Ben later. What's one thing we should ask him, whether it's like a funny story or something that'll get him excited or get the motor going?
Ask him about the Wii golf games with Bailey D's.
Okay.
Ask him about those. Those are intense on the road series for those two. They bring a Wii and they just go at it every day on the Wii golf.
That's awesome. Wii golf. That's awesome. Need that. Need Wii games in my life.
Are you a video game guy?
I do. Yeah, I play video games every day. Well, I wouldn't say every day. I usually play just Fortnite with a couple of friends before I go to bed. But I usually just try to keep it very limited.
That's it. When people ask me, and obviously just covering players for a long time now, but especially like the last 5 to 7 years. And AJ, you've seen this. They're like, oh, what do guys do? Like, the number one thing I can always point to, I'm like, most of them are playing video games. I'm like, especially after the game, they're on the road, and that's actually even how some of the dudes will play against each other. If they were teammates, one plays, and then they kind of stay in touch through video games. So you see that, AJ, all the time.
Yeah, guys used to go hang out at the hotel bar, grab beers and talk about games. Now they jump on video games and try to shoot each other in Fortnite. It's changed a lot.
And talk about the game while they're on Fortnite on the headset.
100%.
They're talking about, man, how'd you build that wall so fast? I couldn't even snipe you.
And it was like, how was your bullpen today? Well, Chase, we really appreciate you stopping by, dude.
Awesome,
Great
man.
to meet
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank
all
you.
right. And hopefully we'll talk to you in the big soon. All right.
Hopefully.
Cheers, man. Appreciate you. Awesome. We can show that board one more time too with more info. There it is on Chase here in Somerset. Having quite the year. The K numbers off the charts here right now too.
Everywhere. So. Dude, striking everybody out.
What did he say? He has a really nasty curveball.
Yes.
He has a really nasty curveball. It's
really
nasty.
Appreciate you, Chase. Thank you. Great to meet you. Kratz and me here in Somerset, if anyone's just joining us, in Somerset, New Jersey right now with the beautiful backdrop. And we've got what? What's the problem?
It's New Jersey.
Yeah.
You're going to come
saying on the off days, they hit the course. And AJ, you can even speak to this, even though last time you came up during the freaking wildfire smoke. But
Armageddon.
There are serious courses here.
But yeah, of course. I mean, New York, there's a lot of people in New York, so they're going to have to build golf courses. And a guy with a hurt wrist right now is trying to build one, and it's on its way. So we got to get Kratz or you in, membership there at Trout National. So, I can.
Okay, deal.
I'll give it to Kratz.
Tweak my arm. Yeah.
Yep.
I got to let you guys pay for me,
That's a deal. You get me the membership. I'll pay for you to come on as my guest. And I'm
used to paying for AJ. I buy all his books.
I will write you in as guest every time.
There you go. We're talking to Corbin Burnes soon, by the way. And while we have a few minutes here, we did have another sticky stuff ejection yesterday.
Robert
Suarez. And they were asking him post-game, too, like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'll see my options. He'll probably find out pretty soon after that conversation. There really are no options. Like, it's up to the ump. He says it's on the weird stickiness meter that each hand's like magically made of nowadays for the umps. Very, very sticky. Was that the quote?
That was the meter. That was the meter.
And he'll sit for 10 games.
I mean, I feel like nobody's going to really talk about it. He's just going to wear it. His team's really going to wear it. I mean, if they were going to make a run.
Yeah. They're kind of out of time, but yeah.
Regardless of whether they have time or not, like you lose a high leverage reliever that's not having as good a year as he had last year, but like you're down an extra pitcher. That is huge for a team when everybody's on fumes anyway. And this is it just needs to be better. We need to have a meter. I mean, there's no way of like.
No, there is. There is actually a device. I don't know if they're talking about it, but Cyrus has talked about it. Who has Eno been on with us yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
He has, right? Yeah.
He was on, but
when we bring him on again another time, he can tell us there is actually like some device that can measure that, at least help you out. Yeah.
Or just a person in the dugout that's
their role.
Right. Relievers are
that
different.
Might be the dream job. Like get to go to every big league game and like once every blue moon. I mean, you actually say, "Oh yeah, this is too much."
You test somebody's hand that's super pissed because he just got waffled.
Yeah.
Relievers get tested on the way in. I didn't see the replay of when they tested him.
Yeah.
Was it when he was leaving or was it when he was on his way in?
I think it was on his way in. Here's the thing.
Oh, yeah. It was before. It was before. Yeah. I know that.
He didn't argue. He didn't fight. He didn't argue. And it was on his glove. They pointed to the back of his glove hand, and they were like this. And an umpire, I forget who the umpire was, but he was like, tacky, tacky, not just tacky. What did Scott Boras say? Tacky, tacky.
Tacky, tacky.
Tacky,
right?
tacky.
Not just tacky.
Very sticky.
So they just went like this and did, and Suarez just was like, peace, boys, 10 days. You can't replace me on the roster. I'm out for a week and a half. I'm going to enjoy my vacation. I mean, there was no argument. So obviously he knew he had something on his personal effects that were not supposed to be there, and he just walked away.
He had to make sure he didn't get sunburn on the back of his hand because the report, I didn't see the video. The report I read, it was on his wrist. So I was thinking back of his wrist, maybe glove hand here somewhere. But if they were pointing to the back of his hand, it's kind of a nefarious place to have sunscreen. Like you'll get sunscreen all up your arms because you want to.
The back of the hand.
You want to have great skin.
You don't want to burn those.
Well, come on.
I'm not going to defend that.
Yeah, the problem is if you're a pitcher right now, and after what we've seen with Max, and after what we've seen with the guys who have gotten in trouble, Herman, like you can't have anything because again, like Scott said and Kratzy said, it's up to the umpires. Any umpire can go. Just think about this: if you're an umpire, and I'm not saying an umpire would do this, just throwing a hypothetical out there. You piss an umpire off as a pitcher, and you get kicked out of the game the time before. You come back in a couple of days later, the umpire's like, I'm going to check this son of a bitch. And he walks out there and goes, I don't know, boys. Whoo, he's out. By the way, that's 10 days. The umpire's got you, and there's no arguing.
Mm-hmm.
If I get tested on my way in, and it's sticky and it's on my hand, I'm going to tell the umpire, we're having cotton candy. Here, lick it. See if the umpire will lick it to see if it was.
I don't think that's in his job requirement.
It'll deflect. Because that's what MLB wants us to do, deflect from this situation.
Yep.
You know what? We're just going to we're going to lord over all these rules, and we're going to make sure they're fair. But really, we are the judge, jury, and executioner.
For this situation, I think there will be conversations in the offseason.
There better be with the rules committee that didn't even know the rules.
A ton, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a problem because, according to some people, most umps just kind of ditch it because they're like, I don't want to be involved with this. So they're just like, I'm not involved. You're great. Who's the dude that got it? That was calling everyone out. He got Max. He got someone last year, right? There's the one.
Wasn't that Phil?
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, it was Phil. Yeah, I just didn't remember his name.
He was extra sticky.
Yes.
Tacky.
So before we get to Corbin Burnes, one other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, there was a good article the other day in The Athletic about this. There are some players, especially some of the superstars, who are stating their case and winning their case to not have to make a rehab assignment And with Mike Trout going on the IL just now, I'm just curious, AJ, for your take, especially say for a position player, because it just popped up with Mike. Do you think it would have made a difference? Because there are definitely players, and you've seen this, who are coming back from an injury and they'll go to the minors and they'll play a game and then they'll be like, I need another game, and they need to make sure that they're right. So that they're also at their best helping the big league club. Like some dudes can play hurt or, and still be like effective ball players. And then sometimes dudes come back too soon. And you're like, that guy probably wasn't ready to come back yet. You don't think he needed it?
I think you're Mike Trout. And Jose Altuve came back and didn't have a problem. Bryce Harper came back and didn't have a problem. I mean, they didn't get off the great starts, okay? But they also didn't re-injure themselves. But Kratzy, how many times have you seen a guy pull a hammy or a calf? They even go on rehab and they play a couple games, and they come back and they're like, they hurt it again, right? They re-injure it again. So it's to each his own, and it's to each organization his own. Now, when Trout originally got hurt, the day of, I said, listen, I've had this injury. I know what it is. I've seen guys with this injury. You cannot rush it. You are ready when you are ready. And I feel like Mike might have rushed it. And I can't blame him for that because he wanted to get back. He wanted to play. And now it's back. And now if I'm the Angels, man, I know it's 10 more days, but you almost have to think about, well, let's get him ready for next year because you don't want this to linger. I remember David Ortiz came back from this early, and it lingered for a long time because he rushed it to get back. He had tape on his wrist, and he was trying all these different pads and all these things where he had the surgery. It's each his own, and it's just weird when you start messing with wrists and hands, especially surgic. Now Jose Altuve's was a little different because it was his thumb, and it wasn't as involved in his swing. But for me, man, Mike Trout, I don't know. You got to be real careful, and I said that at the time. You got to be real careful with this because it can linger for a while after if it's not handled properly.
Yeah, I think there's different situations, and Trout's was a little different with a hand surgery than a hamstring that could linger. Are you coming back too soon? Not rehabbing is a thing. It has to be. You have to have trust in the player that you're saying not rehabbing. I used to joke, like some dudes would come back and be like, "Dang, this dude hasn't played in 4 weeks. He's rehabbing against the Giants. He's rehabbing against the Pirates." Like
how's he doing that, you're saying?
How's he doing that? Like, yeah. I'm going down and trying to rehab against the Somerset Patriots, and I'm grinding. So it's impressive when superstars come back. You just never want to have the situation that AJ said about, or what's happening with Trout with, something you're guarding something to then, hurt something that's worse. Not saying this is worse for Trout, but just that it could happen. You never want that situation.
Yeah, and they're not in a playoff race right now, so they're going to be pretty careful about.
Let's also say this isn't like a career-threatening thing. This isn't.
No.
This is just more about this year and just more about like, I get it. Mike Trout wanted to rush back because there's still people that believe the Angels are in the playoff race, right? And Shohei and all the whole thing. So listen, I give Trout credit for wanting to get back, but at the same time, it just sucks because now you lose Shohei and Trout in a matter of 3 hours. And now if they didn't think they were done before, now they're definitely done.
Yeah, that was a shitty night for the sport, for baseball fans. Let's get to a playoff contender right now in the Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burnes back with us on FT Live. Corbin, good to see you getting some rays right now, dude. How are things at the nice. How are things at the very moment with the ball club now that you've got not one, but two teams involved in this race for the division and a playoff spot, dude? You guys having some fun with it?
Yeah, it's been good. It was kind of a weird road trip that we went on. We swept the White Sox and we got swept by the Dodgers and then swept the Rangers and we just swept the Twins at home. So it was kind of like an all emotions road trip where we played good, then got our asses kicked, and then played good against a first place team. So kind of a weird road trip, but we came back home. We played a good 2-game set against the Twins, and so we feel like we're in a pretty good spot.
Carter taking a nap. Is that why you're outside?
Yeah. Carter's taking a nap, and there's a couple of friends inside that are hanging out, so I got out here so I can talk some shit.
Yeah, because there's no way this is the day that you wanted to be outside. Freaking heat wave coming through. Your catcher's going through 9 different jerseys, and you're like, you know what? I wasn't even trying that hard, so I didn't sweat that bad. Like,
yeah,
is it the real heat now?
Yeah, I mean it's about 100 right now. It's about 101 yesterday, so I don't know why it's so freaking hot. It's supposed to be cooling off. I was told when I came here that the Milwaukee summers were beautiful, and it's been quite the opposite this year. So I don't know what's going on.
Is it like do you remember back in 18 when they shut the dome and they trapped all the mosquitoes in? Is it that? Is it sweltering hot in there, or is it better than that time?
It's what they did yesterday was actually, I think, a good move. Instead of having it completely open and the sun beating on us all game, they kind of did like a half open, half closed. And so what it did is it put shade over basically most of the field except for left field. So Yelly was pretty happy about that when the game started. But everyone else was in the shade, and then it allowed to have a little bit of breeze come through there. I mean, the breeze was really a hot breeze coming through, but you still had some airflow. So it wasn't too bad in there yesterday. So they did a good job with that.
So can I ask what the protocol is? Why does it have to be open at all? Because aren't some ballparks? Yeah, but some. Oh, for the airflow in there.
I'm thinking airflow.
Is that well? Because Corbin, there's some ballparks, right? Like I've spent a lot of time in Texas, both at the Rangers' new spot and in Houston too. And actually, in Houston, the fans always complain because they're like, they barely ever open the roof. It has to be the most perfect day ever. It has to be like 78.6 degrees and negative 10% chance of rain and all of these things. So, is that an airflow situation there?
Yeah, so I think a lot of those stadiums you're referring to have air conditioning, and we don't. Ours is just for really the really cold months. They can pump a little bit of heat in there, so when it's 25 outside, it's at least a nice 45 or 50 inside. But yeah, so when they close that place up in the heat like this, it basically just becomes like a sauna in there, and it's just miserable.
How can you build that stadium and not put air conditioning in it? Because I love going to Houston. It's 120 outside. You walk in the booth and you're like, oh, man, it's so comfortable in here. You go to the new Dallas, the Texas Rangers Stadium, you're like, oh, it's 72. It's so great. Then you go to Milwaukee and you're saying that they have 12 fans blowing on you. Poor Rock and BA and Levering, man, they're sweating to death because you guys have it all closed. They won't even open a window for us. Can we help some broadcasters out?
I don't know why they didn't do air conditioning. That's a good question, but I'm sure when they built that stadium a lot, 2000 and 2001, I think is when it opened it. I'm sure it was probably been a lot more expensive to pump the HVAC through there. So yeah, I'm not going to complain. We never have rainouts. We never have to worry about delays. So that's definitely a plus.
Hey, listen, you didn't play in County Stadium, so you don't know how good you have it, okay? Like if you think American Family Field is bad, trust me, I played in County Stadium. You ain't seen nothing.
No, I'm glad I didn't have to. And that old Rangers ballpark, I heard that place was miserable.
Yeah, you take the field at the old Rangers ballpark, and it'd be 110. It'd be 7:15. You're trotting out there in all your gear, and they had a big thermometer out in center field, right over like shortstop, and you're like, it would say 112. Just to remind you. You're saying 112. You're like, man, I'm already sweating to death.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, what?
There's our guy.
Look who it is.
Wait, he's on the other team, though.
Yeah, we got the
How you doing, man? He can't hear us, can he?
No, he can't hear. He said, what's up, though?
Yo, how's life? No, come on.
Give him an AirPod. Give him an AirPod. Tell him to hang out.
We miss him.
And just give a little chatter for the batter.
Say what's up to the boys.
Hey, what up? How y'all doing?
What's up?
What it do? What it do?
What it do? Just sitting here in hot Milwaukee.
It is hot, dude. Right?
That's toasty. What you guys
been up to? Is this the first time he's been back, right, to Milwaukee? So is he? Oh wait, are we having the montage tomorrow before the game?
Ooh,
are we gonna have the montage, some cheers, maybe?
No idea. Hopefully, some cheers and some love, but I'm not sure. Where are you guys?
Here's the problem. I think that.
I think they're in
the
Somerset,
AirPods.
yeah.
I think the mic is only on one side, right?
Is it
I
on
don't know.
side?
AJ can hear. AJ can hear.
You can hear him good? Oh, okay.
AJ's got it. Yeah, we just can't hear him as much. But basically, what we think Hader said was they're going to have a montage, and he's going to be crying, and then he's going to bring the baby on the field, and he's going to hold it up like
Simba,
Simba,
Simba, yeah, the Simba.
And
can.
he's just going to. and it's just going to be just a magic moment in Milwaukee, and then Hader's going to come back and sign as a free agent next year. That's what I heard. That's what I heard you say, Hader, and tell me nod your head, AJ, if that's what he said.
That's exactly what Hader said he's going to do. That's exactly what Josh said. He said since Burnes isn't pitching in this series, I'm going to get all the love, and I'm going to be able to take all the attention. And instead of interviewing Brewers, they're going to interview me every time. Sophia, what's her name? Sophia Minner?
Minner, yep.
Yeah, she's going to come over after the game instead of interviewing like Rowdy or Carlos Santana or Adames. She's just going to talk to Hader every inning and just give him all the love. And they're just going to run a pitch and inning montage just so Hader gets all the attention.
Hey, Burnes,
they're going to try.
Hey, since he's here right now, can you please show Hader your hair and make sure Hader knows? Like, he can cut his hair off, too. Like, it doesn't take all his power
he can't
away.
do that.
No.
See, he's been throwing well all season. I sucked ass at the beginning. I tried to cut my hair off.
Yo, Josh, is he feeding you today? Like, does he have a good spread out there for you at the house?
Yeah, hooking it up, and he put me on some fish. We caught some fish, so
we did. We went out and ripped some lips this morning.
What'd you catch?
Bass. That's the typical out here. Yeah, except for Josh. Josh got everything but bass, so he was catching all species today.
What do they got out there?
Just not gators, I know that.
And no gators. We didn't come across anything crazy today. Just some bluegill. We actually caught a rock bass, a bass. Saw a bunch of pike, but never caught any of those. So it got too hot. We got out early, and we got out the lake about 10:30 or 11. It was already about 95 at that point.
Damn.
Hey, by the way, hey, Corbin and Josh, this is like, if you guys watch wrestling, this is like kayfabe right now because you guys are supposed to hate each other. Ooh. Right? You guys are on opposite teams, right? This would be like Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik like hanging out in the bar, we're all fishing, but then we're going to go fight at WrestleMania. Right? I mean,
there's no hate here. We got home and the kids were playing in the living room, running around. It's good. The wives are in there chatting it up, so I'm sure they're talking shit about us out here right now. So it's good. There's nothing but love here.
No, that's not a thing. I went to PFL MMA last night, and the dudes are like, I mean, before and especially even after, like they're hugging, like, yo, great match, all that stuff.
Way to beat my face in.
Yeah. Like, I've got your blood all over me.
They make a lot of money to beat each other in.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
You get paid a lot of money to beat each other's faces in, too.
That is true.
Just not physically touching the face.
Yeah.
Wait,
ideally not.
I do have a question. Like, if you guys got to hit against each other, who would have a better chance of getting a hit off the other one?
Not me. I can't
probably over 10 with 10 punchies apiece.
No. We need
not
an answer.
Even contact?
Who gets a hit first?
I say Corb. He's got more at bats than I do.
Yeah, but I ain't hitting any lefty throwing a hunch. So I think we're both in trouble there.
Yeah,
you guys will run out of pitches. You guys will run out of pitch count.
Yeah, they'll hit their pitch count.
Yeah, we'll hit our pitch limit. Yeah.
Incredible. Well, Josh, you see last one for you, dude. You see anyone else? Any other boys while you're out here? Get to spend some time with some of the boys. I know you miss a lot of the guys.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to catch up with everybody tomorrow. Since we had an off day today, we're just chilling with the fam. But hopefully see everybody tomorrow and get to talk some ish to them.
Yeah, exactly. Please. Yeah. Well, they miss you here, dude. Great to see you, man. Thanks for swinging by for a sec.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you guys.
Drinking outdoors.
Yeah. Old brother.
Tell him.
Brother.
Burnesy needs like the turquoise glove that Hader uses.
No, I'm not flashy like that.
Yeah, he doesn't. He already got rid of the glasses. Burnesy had his flash. He had the glasses.
Yeah, he did.
His fatness sweated all over him. Yep. So he got rid of them.
And then I had the hair. I was cool with the hair for a while, but then I started sucking, so I had to get rid of that. So I ain't got much to get rid of left. So maybe the beard's probably next, but that's like, that's desperate.
No, I got a serious question. So this sucked yesterday for the sport. When you saw that Shohei Ohtani has the UCL tear again, everyone's a fan of what he's doing, especially for you guys. You guys don't have to really, I mean, you play the Angels, but you don't really have to deal with them. It's not like a big division rival. When did you see that news, and what did you think? Because everyone's also trying to figure out, like, what's next for this dude, right? Like, is he going to get surgery, but he can still hit and be one of the best hitters, and he's hitting free agency? Like, can you imagine what's going through his brain right now?
Yes, we saw it after the game yesterday, and that was kind of the immediate question kind of going around the clubhouse. It's like, wait, this guy's a free agent at the year. Like, how is this going to work out? Is he going to get surgery? Is he going to hold off? But then, you know, he's not going to be able to pitch his first year or so in free agency. It's kind of one of those things that's going to, you know, really shake up the baseball world as far as what's going to happen is with every team that was looking at him for a free agent signing this year. So hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's one of those he can, you know, recover with the PRP and go the shorter route and come back quicker. But that's never something that you want to see.
Yeah, dude's great for the game. So that's one injury. The other injury that was unfortunate for your ball club a little bit back was Rowdy's finger issue, and we've had him on now since, and he gave us permission to show the scene of the crime when it first occurred, the picture. And some people on this planet who follow us, our Foul Territory on TV Twitter account, some people apparently have never been the same since they saw the finger image. So did you see the initial picture of how fucked up his finger was?
I did, yeah. So I was out there shagging the day he was doing it. It was the first time Rowdy had touched the outfield grass, and probably the last time he touches the outfield grass. But he went to try to rob a homer, which we should probably leave for the outfielders. Went up and stuck his finger in the wall and ripped it out, and I don't think he realized it right at the moment because he kind of looked down and the blood was just shooting out of his finger, and all of a sudden I've never seen Rowdy run so fast. He ran all the way across the field from center field all the way to the dugout, made it in one sprint, and went in and all we heard was like, oh, he cut up his finger, like he ripped it real bad, they might have to cut it off. And I was like, nice, like we're gonna get another 9-finger bandit. We already got Walker. So I thought he was gonna join the 9-finger club, but they were like, no, it was just the fingernail. They have to cut off the rest of the fingernail. So I was a little disappointed when it wasn't the whole finger. But yeah, and then you know, Rowdy was like, oh, I was getting ready to come back and hit some homers. It's like, probably not. You probably roll over to second base. That's what you typically do. And then now he's finally back and hitting some more ground balls at second base. So it's good.
That description, by the way, was incredible. Like we need to run that whole thing back about the running back from the outfield. Leave it to, you know,
we'll get
anyone else.
We'll get StatCast on him running, holding his finger in his jersey.
Yep.
And then Burnesy being like, hey, Walker, there's going to be another person with 9 fingers.
You got to give some background there.
Walker McKinven, who we just had on.
Him on
last week.
I didn't know that part of it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that the guy had a car accident, like horrific car accident.
Yeah.
Ripped his finger
in the ice, freaking smashes into the back of a tractor trailer. Only injury, whoop,
Lost
pinky.
the finger.
Lost, gone. Pinky
Wow.
gone. So it would have been another finger. I mean, it could have been like a death type of accident, and all he did was lose a finger. And Rowdy runs out to the outfield. I mean, I love your description of it. Like, is there any place, like, you know, Rowdy is now not allowed? Like, they're going to have to put caution tape behind first base, and he can't go there. Is there a place that he's going to say you're not allowed to go? Because you catch pop-ups and everything, and he kind of is pissed about that.
Yeah, well, if he would just get there and catch him, I wouldn't have to. But I gotta pick up those socks sometimes. So, I mean, we'll have to put like a little 10-foot bubble. You can go 10 feet onto the outfield grass. Stay away from the fences. Stay away from netting. Stay away from anything that can cause you to stub a toe. Like, it's just freak accidents with Rowdy.
Even during the games, though, now he can't go on the outfield grass anyway.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So
it actually works out.
The shift rule would not allow that.
Yeah, so you just permanently should not be allowed on the outfield grass before, during, or after ball games.
Was it because he jumped? Was it because he jumped too high, or was it because he didn't jump at all and he was trying to push himself up on the fence, and that's why he tore a part of his finger off?
So I don't think he had to jump at all. He was more just like feeling like where the wall was at as he was getting ready to catch it against the wall. So supposedly him and Winker were out there getting some conditioning in, playing a fly ball catch game. And so they were both flying all over the field, the two fastest guys in the league, just flying across the diamond. And I guess he was just going back and put his hand up, and there's like a little gap between the yellow of the pad in Cincinnati and the rest of the wall, and his finger got in there, and for whatever reason, when he ripped it out, it just took the top half of his finger.
Corbin, were you there the day I was giving him when I was doing your guys' game? And you were sitting there, weren't you? And I told him us fat people, we don't shag. We don't need to shag. And he hopefully learned his lesson. Like, us fat guys, we don't go in the outfield grass because bad things happen, right?
Yep,
so you had
exactly.
Woody playing Papa Shot. I think Yelly was playing him. Who's the Papa Shot champion in the Brewers clubhouse?
So that's the thing. We don't play the Papa Shot. Like, we got this damn Papa Shot to – well, I take that back. Last year, we did play the Papa Shot, and Suter beat everyone because Suter's crazy and was shooting both hands and would just kill the high scores. And then everyone said, okay, no more Papa Shot. So now it's just turned into taking threes from around the clubhouse and seeing who can make the most threes. So we've gone through about our third Papa Shot now because those things are meant to be shot from 5 feet away, and instead we shoot them from like 40 feet, and we're breaking plexiglass and what's the movie where the guy's like raindrops and he's bouncing off the backboard? Yeah, that's a lot of what's going on in the clubhouse.
Along came Polly.
Along came Polly.
Yeah, along came Polly.
Are you the guy from Crocodile Tears? You're goddamn right, I am.
So it's not the same Papa Shot as when I was there. That was back by the clubby's locker room. It's a different one.
No, it's a different. We've gone through about 3 now. They instead of just probably buying the nice one, buy a real high tech one, we like to go through all the cheap ones to see which one's actually the best quality. So we're still looking.
All right. So Rowdy, when he was on, said a autograph hound in Indy asked him to autograph something down in the lobby, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "Well, can you come up to my room and autograph it?" And Rowdy's like, "What? Have you ever had an interaction like that where you're like, oh no, like I can't do that. That's dangerous, and this is really weird. Why are you asking me this?" Stranger danger.
I've never been asked to go up to a hotel room. That would that's definitely for sure stranger danger. I would definitely stay away from that one. That could lead to some very, very bad things.
What's your weirdest fan interaction, or just something either they've wanted you to sign or just like a comment, right? Like sometimes, especially like it's the kids are like cute usually, just like, oh, you're my favorite player, whatever. But like occasionally, like an adult I've been around even at the ballpark where they're like yelling at the players, not even like not like yelling at them like, oh, you suck. Like that's basic. Like anything weird that's been said to you from a fan.
I haven't had anything real weird. No, I mean obviously you get the classic, people calling you the wrong name. Before my hair was cut, I got called hater all the time, but I was like, that guy's a lot better than me. Like you don't want my signature on that card. But now I get Woodruff and I get Hauser a lot, and I'm, maybe one day I'll get recognized of who I am, but still yet to get to that day.
Dare to dream. You're young. You've got time.
Dude, hold on. Hater's a lot better. You got a fucking Cy Young. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? He's better. You got a fucking Cy Young.
Yeah, but AJ's right behind him. He's like 10 feet away inside.
You know what you do? You walk inside and you just go like this. And you just point at the Cy Young and be like, suck on a hater. I got one of them, and you don't.
He's got a little Rolaids relief. Well, now it's the Mariano Award. He's got a little like Tums Award. You got a freaking Cy Young.
Isn't it Hoffman and Mo?
Oh, right, because it was in National League.
Yeah.
He's got a few of them though.
Yes, he does. Fair.
Whatever. He doesn't throw as many innings as you. Whatever.
That's true.
Hey, question. So when Rowdy was on, he told us a little bit about Chafin and how he lives in a trailer and he's like the great outdoorsman and all of that. And he's obviously, Rowdy was in his rehab game, so he didn't really have much yet on Santana and Canna. So I think we had you on right before those trades went down. So thoughts on those deals, how it's impacted the ball club on the field, and then if you've got anything good about them since you've met them.
I mean, all three are great guys. I think that was kind of the main goal going into the deadline was, hey, we want someone that helps, but we also don't want guys that are kind of come in and kind of mess up the vibe we had going. And they've all three come in and they fit in great. Carlos and Mark, obviously great vet bats, and take great ABs, work the counts. They both got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they both caught fire. Carlos had a great series in Texas. Mark's been swinging the bat really well. So those guys have kind of been huge for the middle of our lineup and manufacturing runs and putting some good ABs together. And then Chafin, he's a beautiful human. from the first day in. He was the same guy. He was just being himself. Wade knew him back from his days of playing in Arizona, so he told us about him, like, hey, this guy, he's a redneck, he's country, like he's all about it. And this guy, he's hilarious. He gets the yard and he doesn't change out of his t-shirt and his jeans and his boots until 20 minutes. He's got to go outside. He's sitting there watching videos on his iPad of big excavators and dozers and Tonkin trucks. He's got all this land he's been clearing, and I mean he's a beautiful human. He got his RV the other day, and for 2 nights I think he slept in the parking lot. Just he's like, yeah, I don't have my campsite ready yet, so I'm just gonna sleep 2 days in the parking lot in the RV and eventually go find my campsite. So I mean he's just a good old country boy, and that was a baseball.
So are you telling me that 2 days? I mean, he didn't go to the bathroom one time in his RV, like where he had to let it out, like he's just sitting in that poo.
I mean, I don't know. They probably just gave him a key card just to go down to the clubhouse and shower and do what he's got to do. But yeah, I don't know what year he said he parked it in the parking lot for most of the year. He had some water and some electrical hookups and just had to go dump his sewer every now and then. But yeah, I think he said one season he spent most of the year in the player lot in the RV.
We need to get him on.
He needs to
get him on soon. We're on it.
He needs to be on.
We have a list that's running where an interview pops up and we go, we need to get him on. Okay, I have 2 other things I want to hit. I want to ask about the charity in a sec. Just one other news topic before that literally like is fresh as hell, just came out, and we've all watched him during his prime years. Steven Strasburg news. He's been out for a while. Corbin, obviously someone you could competed against a few years back. So do we have the tweet too with the news? Because we're all learning this together here. From Barry Sverluga, who covers the team, and Jesse Doherty too. They've covered the team for years. Strasburg's going to retire. World Series MVP, former number 1 pick, couldn't overcome complications, thoracic outlet syndrome, tentatively planning a September announcement. So just from your perspective, first off, what you saw from him, like the appreciation of when he was on the mound, how damn good his stuff was, and then what it must feel like for a player who is young and definitely accomplished a ton, right? Like individually, and he won his World Series, but to have to call it based on not just being able to stay on the field.
Yeah, that's tough. I obviously had heard that he's gone through a bunch of the complications the last couple of years, but I didn't realize he was that close to being done. But I can imagine like there's you get to a certain point where you rehab and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's time to call it. But yeah, I mean, the years, and it was it 17, 18, 19, like he was just unbelievable. And the World Series run he had, and what he did for that team really to win a World Series. That was a national team that didn't really have a bullpen. So those guys were starting and going to the pen and doing both. And yeah, I mean, obviously his career was probably shortened and a lot shorter than it should have been. And he was a guy that had great stuff on the mound. And I remember playing against San Diego State in college, and his face being all over that, the banners there and the wall and that whole campus, like what he did at San Diego State, and then he carried it over into pro ball and to do it in DC. I mean, the guy was unbelievable, had great stuff, and it's unfortunate that his career was cut that short.
And that's interesting. You saw San Diego State that time period too, because I mean, I'm sure you remember the hype around him was insane. And then he comes up to the show and you're seeing it, right? Like injuries aside, just the talent converting, right? It's not like a dude that we're watching and it was like, you know what? Stuff doesn't play. I mean, really right now, the comp would be just this past season to Paul Skeens. Where he comes up and now like we're probably going to see him in the bigs next year. And it's like everyone's already been talking about you. Like college baseball doesn't get as much love as college football and college basketball, but like everyone, yes. Yeah, I agree. Trust me, I'm hosting a baseball show every day.
This is what we're doing.
But there's not many baseball fans that can list like the top 10 college pitchers right now. But like everyone knows Skeens, everyone knew Strauss. Like he had all of that at him in San Diego State, especially the platform year before he got drafted, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think. So my coach in college was, I think, there at San Diego State when Strasburg was there, and he said he's just unbelievable human, but just dominated college baseball and got to the big leagues and had years where he just dominated the big leagues. So the hype was definitely there, and like I said, it's unfortunate that he didn't get to live out the second half of his career.
Yeah, he ain't got no Cy though. Tell him. He ain't got no Cy Young.
Tell him, Mercy.
Yeah.
Tell him.
He's He's got a chip though, so that's next. That's next.
He does.
All
He
right.
does.
Does
Yeah.
he? Oh no! Before I don't know the answer to this. Does he get paid? If he retires, they had to do a buyout or something, right? Because he ain't. Otherwise, I'd be like, yeah, I ain't really retiring here. I want my money.
My guess is it's probably like the medical retirement that Fielder had to do years ago. My guess is it's probably something similar to that.
Yep, I remember. That's true. So, and I'm sure we'll get more details on it coming out. But
still paying him till 26. I mean,
who?
Yep.
Strasburg.
Oh yeah. He's still got years to go, and the deferrals and the whole, because
defers.
the Nats always do that. So there's still a lot of time left. All right. Lastly, Corbin, you had a big charity event yesterday. Also, didn't you? You got to give me more context on this. Your wife created a certain type of
wine bottle.
Wine? It was
Yeah,
wine. I knew it was
the wine label.
Alcohol, wine. Okay, wine label.
Yep.
So yeah, what do you got? How was it?
It was awesome. Yeah. So the event was last night. I think we had close to 150 people show up, which was great. We partnered with Uncork for a Cause, who does a couple of these events a year with guys around the league, and Blake did a great job of setting everything up and planning it all out. And we partnered with them. And our charity was Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Wisconsin. So I've worked with them for the last 6 years now, kind of growing each year of what we did. And this year was kind of like taking it to the next level with this full event. And we raised a ton of money last night. We had a great showing. It was great. Everyone was very thankful to be there. I'm thankful for everyone that came. We had a bunch of good good silent auction and live auction items. So it was a great event. And hopefully we can continue to do this every year for them.
Don't be afraid to send a bottle here or there.
Hell yeah.
Like
I got
can we
about
buy
6
it?
cases, so we'll figure it out.
Okay,
let's go.
All right, we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll have to make it.
Yep.
We'll drink it on the show because not many shows can do that.
If it would help the charity.
Yeah, for real. Can we set that up? I'll buy a bottle and we'll all have it on the show.
We'll figure it out.
Let's go.
We'll figure it out.
Don't worry, Adrian. I'll buy the bottle. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Hey, Corbin, if you ever write a book too, Scott will buy it so I can read it. Give him the book report.
I buy books and alcohol.
Right.
That's what I'm good for.
But,
Corbin,
hold on, Corbin. Do you have this book yet?
Which one's that?
It's Erik Kratz's book.
I'll trade you.
No, I don't. I'll have to read that one. Is it any good?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. It doesn't have any pictures in it.
I signed a audio copy for AJ, but I'll trade you one of your bottles for one of my books.
All right, we'll do it.
Deal. That's a fair deal. Hey, dude, great catching up with you. Appreciate it. Go kick Hater's ass, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. All right.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cheers, man. Great to see you. Corbin Burnes from the Milwaukee Brewers with us. And yes, if you're just joining the party here and we're towards the end of it, we are at a minor league ballpark here in Somerset. Does anyone have shades?
Shades.
You really have
shades. When you're at a field,
bring them on the road.
You never know if you're going to need to
you know
catch
me.
a pop-up.
I'm a traveling circus.
You are
right now.
a traveling man.
Yeah. The amount of times I get asked of like, where is this? Where is that? I lose everything right now. Wow. Look at you, AJ. Little Shady Rays action for everyone. Premium polarized shades. You do not have to break the bank for these. AJ, now I see that you have two of the same kind, and I go, great.
They're yours.
Those are mine.
And there's definitely fingerprints all over them.
These are Scott's.
That's not part of the lost and broken.
Ruining.
These are Scott's.
With your. Can you say cooties? Is that still?
Cooties? No, I was going to say with his banana hands.
That was what the kids said in school, right?
Cooties.
But anyway, hey, for their best deal of the season, hit up shadyrays.com right now for our FT fam, and you get 50% off 2+ premium polarized sunglasses. You can look as good as Erik Kratz anytime there. You got to use the code though, FOUL, FOUL. And yes, we will put them to good use because we're actually this is the most outside, right, that we've been for a show. We've been on the road a lot, but we've got
besides when my electric went off
here. Besides when your electric went off,
this is the most vitamin D we've got.
Yes, exactly. So we are looking forward to soaking up the Rays a little bit later on. And now, lastly,
we can slap hands.
Oh yeah, we can slap in real life.
Yeah.
So a reminder, tomorrow's show will be in Atlantic City. The tour continues. We'll be back at Borgata. Ken Rosenthal will join us. He was traveling today, but he'll give us all the latest on the Shohei Ohtani news. He wrote a great article, too, about what he thinks he's worth. So if you want to check that out, and then we'll get his thoughts, and we'll ask him some questions about it tomorrow, then we'll get after it. And want to thank the Somerset Patriots for hosting us for the show today. And our day is just getting started. Kratzy's got first pitch. I'm going to try and grab the microphone for a little bit of time. Oh, and Kratz hats is super relevant today. What do you got?
Super relevant. Never played for him, but the boys here were super generous to hook me up with a Kratz hats galore with the Somerset Patriots. It's a pretty sick logo.
Yeah, the red, white, and blue.
And it's very close. That's what AJ was kind of hinting at, his Liberty golf course logo, which I'm not sure why you bought a T-shirt from a elite golf course, but it's very much like it's a T-shirt.
I
Who
like
buys
the logo,
a T-shirt?
though.
I love the logo.
I got
get a
mine
collared
too.
shirt one time.
Why would I do that? Why would I get a collared shirt? I can't wear that everywhere, and I can't wear it on the show. So I'll buy a T-shirt and I'll do whatever I want. Kratz, you're not my mom. You're not my wife. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my kids.
No, I feel like they're not going to invite you back because you bought a T-shirt instead of from the clearance rack instead of one of the collared shirts.
Well, I got a collar now. I'm excited because unlike
sick.
who got kicked out of the country of AJ's country club that we had on?
That was
Brady Singer.
Singer,
so
yeah.
Look, I don't have many. I've got my fresh new collared shirt here. Patriots hooking me up. I'm gonna look like I work here like back in the day.
One of the on-field guys.
Yes, look forward to
Courthouse.
more combos with Patriots, more shenanigans with us on the field here in Somerset, New Jersey. Thanks again to them for hosting us. Also, in addition to Ken, we have Liam Hendricks joining us on Friday's show.
I have Ken this weekend with me in Minnesota, by the way.
Wow, you're doing more of these national pro games.
Yeah, wow, you're really moving up.
No
the
wonder
ranks,
you
man.
feel so good about
We're proud
yourself.
of you. We're proud of you. Perfect day to talk about it. You're getting promoted, man. It's great. We will see you all on Friday, FT Live from Atlantic City. And if you're in the area and you want to join us, we are in Somerset. Go grab some seats, show up at the ballpark, and we'll slap hands in person. See you then.